Brian here at the YCS Las Vegas team event. Tell us how'd you do just right on the bubble. Let us know.
Yeah, so I went 5-3 at the Team YCS, same record as our team. I was playing 60 card branded brand Despia with grass looks greener, of course. Got to have that grass.
Grass is so good.
So let's kind of go into deck profile here. So 3 Luber, pretty standard, great normal summon, does all your stuff, and not a lot to say about Luber, pretty standard. Playing 2 Quem, also a Despia name, so both of these can be used for super poly targets in a pinch against opponents' Darks. Darks and Lights are really common in this meta. I went 2 Quem because oftentimes you can summon the other one off of Titaniclad, and you end up needing it in the grind game or summoning it off of Grand Guignol to get follow-up on your opponent's turn. Great card. We got 2 Blazing Cartesia. I'd like to play 3 if I can, but you got to cut something down. 60 cards is a lot, but I feel like I needed every card in here. Not a lot to say about Cartesia, pretty standard. 3 Albion, also great starter, gets Fallen of Albaz in the grave, helps you get Retribution, so bring back Brandon Fusion, Dark Dragon for high spirits, great card. Don't like to cut down on it. Sometimes you can side some out. 3 Fallen of Albaz, standard, nothing really to say here.
The star of the show.
Oh yeah, we got Spriggan's Kit. Kit's great card, good for follow-up, good for high spirits target. You can use an extension, bring Retribution back from your banished zone, back to your hand, using a grind game. You can play through a lot of cards with it. Really nice. Tragedy, pretty standard, can get Brandon Fusion back in the grind. Sometimes I got Lancia 3 times yesterday. It was...
Oh my god.
In those cases, you just go for Lupelion, and you don't have to worry about getting banished. You can keep it in your grave for follow-up with Branded Retribution, or you can just summon or use it to search for Quem or a Luber, whichever one you don't have. Play Mercurier, pretty standard.
Love that in the gates.
Really nice when you get shifted, so you can make Rinbrum, so you can send back Malice cards with the bounce. Very strong. We got Maximus playing the Deer Servant engine. Really, really clutch. If I get Fualost or just hand trap to Oblivion and you last card Nadir Servant, you can play through so many cards.
Did Maximus come clutch for you?
Yeah, Maximus was very nice. Games where I got triple hand trapped, he was nice. There were sometimes he was in my hand. I was able to use High Spirits to then make him after I got fully stopped with Ash, and he's great. I wouldn't cut it. I like him in this format a lot.
Nice.
We got 3 Bestial Saronir.
Very Sarn.
Yeah, and 60 cards you want to max out with this with High Spirits as well. Dark Dragon, High Spirits with Sarnir full combo, Sarnir plus Cartesia full combo. It's a hand trap or interrupt in a lot of situations. Great. Also playing the Magnuma, the one of Magnuma. Honestly, I never really saw it. It didn't really come up, but makes sense to the ratios. It's a 1 of in 60. Sometimes you don't really see these things. Sided it out versus Malice, so didn't come up too much. 1 Lubellion, standard. Not a lot to say there. Made Light and Darkness Dragon Lord by keeping on the board a lot. 3 Fualos. I mean...
The star of the show.
In this meta, you gotta. This card is... If you didn't have this at the YCS, it was difficult. I had to kind of rent these, but, I had to play it. All right, on to the spell cards. We got 3 Triple Tactics Thrust. This card was probably the best spell in the deck. It carried pretty hard. Thrust, Search for Grass is my last interaction.
Oh my
Won
god.
a couple games. Thrust for Artifact Sanctum was the only reason I beat all my Malice matchups. Wouldn't have done it without it. Incredible going second. Thrust, Talents, great board breakers. Having both of these up going second, I won every game where I saw it. Talents is an amazing card. Rip their hands, remove their only starter, and just try to play a grind game. Really, really good. I would not... I'd like to play a 3rd Talents, but again, something has to get cut for the amount of ratios that I'm playing. God. So we got 3 Forbidden Droplet. Seems like a lot, but this card was good going first and second. A lot of times they try to Infinite Impermanence my Grand Guignol, or they will try to Imperm or Veiler the normal summon for a Luber. Using this to send it to dodge is great. draw phase, opening, high spirits, then into droplet to send the card for extra advantage. Really good. Great card, really good utility. Always happy to see it. Don't want to see it as much going first, but it was still good when I saw it going first, so I'm happy playing 3. Got Super Poly, triple Super Poly. This card's broken.
No, Super
Won
Poly,
every game.
man.
I mean, if I saw this card, it was over for my opponent.
Oh my
good
God.
against good against Malice. You get 2 of their board. I even fusion duplication to Super Poly to double Super Poly somebody, and
Oh my, what a demon.
yeah, it was pretty rough for them. Just Super Poly when I had an Albaz on the board for Mirror Jade, and then fusion dupe the Super Poly then to make Garura. It was just like, yeah, you're not playing through that.
That's the good stuff, right?
Never saw it going second. Would have liked to. Would have been incredible versus Blue Eyes, but I just didn't see it a whole lot. But when I saw it, it was cracked. We got 3 Nadir Servant.
Nadir.
Yeah, this is one of the newer things that's been catching on in Branded. There's so many hand traps in this format. Fualos in the format. If you get like triple hand trapped or you got Fualos, you need to make a half board. Nadir Servant sets you up. You get a free draw with Garura, Search Maximus. You have you can have Grand Gunal or Titaniclad, Albion, Rinbrum. Send any 2 of those combinations that you think is going to be best for interrupting your opponent. Depends on what's your grave and what else is in your hands. But you can just play on your opponent's turn if you just get a Nadir Servant to resolve. And a lot of times that's enough because then there's a lot of cards that can't play into. You can get Quem out with Grand Guinal in the graveyard. You can make Mirror Jade, then you can resend the Rinbrum for further follow-up. This card was just really good. You don't want to lead with it. You just kind of want to save it for last. Although there's a couple times where I was able to play it early. It got ashed, and then I was able to actually go into fusion plays. So it works there too. 3 Branded opening.
Gotta run it.
Yeah.
Gotta run it.
I mean, you're playing Branded, you run 3 of these. Droll was really popular today, so I did this in draw phase more than not, and I often saw Droll later on in the turn after doing this draw phase, so it was very good. Same thing with triple high spirits. I wasn't on 3 of these before, but I figured Droll was going to be really popular, especially with 7th Tachyon. I actually never saw 7th Tachyon today, so I guess people weren't on it as much, but Droll was still everywhere. This in draw phase is great. Send a dragon, send a spellcaster, gets you follow-up. It's wonderful. Fusion deployment, great card. Again, you play Branded, you play 3 of these. Good for getting Albaz out. Sometimes you can deployment Albaz, deployment Cartesia. Depends on what the board is. I was able to, you can threaten a contact fusion with Fallen of Albaz if you're fighting against Blue Eyes. So just other ways to get a name on the board to threaten that. Branded Fusion, of course.
Of
the
course,
namesake.
Branded Fusion. Come on.
Yeah, you gotta get that swirl on here on the ulti. You know,
Oh yeah, look at that.
you gotta get the swirl.
God, how much times did Branded Fusion even come up today?
I mean, there were some games I never played it. I just made branded in white. This card over here. Sometimes I want to play around Ash, or if I had a graveyard that was loaded, and I just wanted to be able to play through. Like sometimes you just use Branded White and don't even need Branded Fusion. Of course, you play Lost, part of the combo with Lubellion. Great card.
I don't want you to interact with me.
Yeah, you don't want.
Do
they
not
can't interact with them. You want to, summon Chaos Star Source off of a play, and they have some back row. They don't stop the first Branded Lost. They're getting their board blown up. Branded Red. Similar kind of deal. I usually go into Branded Retribution a little bit more often, but there's times where it comes up. If you need to threaten a Chimera, or if you have an extra Albaz engraved and you don't have any Despias, it's great. You have 2 Albaz engraved, Branded Red backed up with the Rinbrum. There's a lot of plays that you have access to. Got Fusion Duplication, great card. I actually didn't I didn't thrust for this too much. I saw it in my hand hard opening. I was able to double Branded Fusion somebody one time where I was fighting Malice. I had Lancias and a bunch of all my trap cards in my hand. Able to set this, thrust for Branded Fusion because I had the Sanctum, and I just figured they can't break through the board and I can flip the set Brand Fusion next turn.
Fusion Duplication seemed like it was just devastating sometimes.
It was...
Oh my god. This card always blows my back out, let me tell you.
This card can copy Super Poly, which came up at a turn where I mentioned where I had this set and I had Brand Fusion set and I double Branded Fusion them one turn.
Oh my god.
Brand Fusion, then Battle Phase, play around Nib, Fusion Dupe, it was over.
Yes, sir, it's over right there.
Foolish Burial, standard, 60 cards. Foolish Sark, you know, you're playing 60 cards, you want to see your starters as much as you can. Good cards in 60 cards. We got Retribution, of course, part of the engine. And then, you know, Called by the Grave.
Got out.
Okay, what can you say? Ash hurts. I main decked the Feather Duster.
Oh, that's an interesting choice.
It was more for side patterns. I felt like something had to give, so I felt it'd come up more often having Duster in the main as a thrust target than some of my other cards. It's really in here. I'd put this in the side if I could, but just due to how my side patterns work out, I figured this would be more helpful against the majority of matchups blinds. And then, of course, best card in the deck, that Grass Up Screener.
Oh, love Grass, man.
That's why we play 60 cards. This card, I mean, you resolve this card, you're probably winning.
You're cooked.
Biggest milled 27 cards one time. My opponent from the other side of the table looked over, said, "How many?" I said 27. He gave me a fist bump, you know. So it's hype. It's a hype card. It's good. Loads your graveyard. All the options. You can get Retribution in there. You can get Tragedy in there. Bring back your spell cards. Albion. Albaz. All the follow-up. As long as you don't get, like, horrendously unlucky with this card, but even if you get something that's not too good, you still have a lot of options and a lot of follow-up and just opens up your play lines and so extensively. So, 60 cards, that's the main deck.
Love that Grass.
On to the extra deck over here. I don't think it's too spicy. Move some of these cards out.
Going on to the extra deck.
Should we check out in like 15 minutes, bro? We gotta hurry.
No, we're good.
We're good, brother.
People need to see.
Yeah, they need to see
So
this
we got
shit.
Borreload Savage Dragon. You know, great card. Nice if you're under Shifter. Good against Malice because I'm only on one Mirror Jade. So with the one Mirror Jade, oftentimes you want to use Rinbrum or Quem to try to fuse on your opponent's turn. And having this to kind of back you up at the same time is nice. And if you make the one Mirror Jade on your turn, you can't fuse into it as easily on your opponent's turn. And this is really often live when you have Quem out. Makes them really consider when they have to go into an extra. 2 Albion, standard. Got one Lubellion, standard. Titaniclad, I think that's standard now, and if you play Nadir Servant, it's absolutely standard.
You can't leave home without it.
No. Playing one Grand Guignol, honestly, I could see playing 2 of this. It came up where I would have liked to have 2 one time in the tournament. 1 was good enough for the most part. I chose to run Guardian Chimera instead, which I never actually summoned. It would have blown somebody out, but they played around it and me having it, so I never end up using it. If this was a second Grand Guignol, probably been a little bit better, but I still don't think I'd cut Chimera. It comes up in a lot of situations where it's really nice. We got Despia and Queritus.
Queritus, huh?
Yeah, good for killing. Make them all 0. They can't battle you. You can... If this gets removed by an opponent, they try to play something that's going to pop your cards, you can quick fuse into it, and then you can special Albaz after it gets destroyed, and then go for more follow-up on there. It's a body that can be obnoxious to play around, specialed off of Grand Guignol, but usually it's special Despia and Proskinian off Grand Guignol. This card...
Proskinian.
Yeah,
He's back.
Banishing cards from their graveyard, stealing a detonator, 30, just huge attack, just forcing battle phase, and... opponents to use their cards early. It was great. Grand Guignol was a wonderful card. We have Garura, Super Poly Target, and Nadir Servant Sends. Very nice card. It's its purpose. We had Albalenitus, very clutch against Blue Eyes, able to contact fuse and just kill some of their board, get that Spirit Dragon off the field. If they don't have the trap card and you set Albaz, it's over for them.
This is blue. This is pretty much just anti-blue eyes.
That was anti Blue Eyes. I side in a Masquerade in the side deck for everything that's not Blue Eyes, but this can still search you Brand Infusion or even Fusion Deployment. It's a good card. Speaking of really good card, Chaos Starsaurus Dragon. Thank you for ever translated this card in the TCG because this is one of the best cards in Branded right now. Sending 2 light or dark dragons with Albions, a quick effect to pop 2 cards. Absolutely incredible. It's a light and a dark dragon, so you can make Light and Darkness Dragon Lord from it. Light and Darkness Dragon Lord was great. I couldn't always make it. Whenever I made it, I won. Opponents aren't playing through this card. It's a wrap if this card comes out. Finally got Rinbrum. Also pretty standard. Using it for follow-up. And I actually made it many, many times. Very good. Just to make this card, able to bounce and negate your opponent's extra deck cards and still give you some follow-up. So that was the extra. Onto the side.
God, Light and Darkness Dragon is definitely the GG's card for sure.
Yeah, flipping that thing, if you have Lost, you can still search because Lost is a spell effect, not a spell activation. So, let me grab these side deck cards. So, right here, we have Gizmek Uka and Ecclesia package. This card is really nice against Blue Eyes, nice against Ryzeal. I actually didn't really get to do the setup today. I only saw it in my hand one time, and I didn't even need it. I just beat the Blue Eyes player without it. They made like a kind of a weak board, never got to special, but in theory it's really strong against them. I just didn't get to see it a whole lot. Got 2 Exceed Encore. Would have liked to play 3, but I had to make a cut for playing 3 Droll Mockbird. Great card, really strong against Ryzeal.
Incredible.
Good if I wasn't sure quite what they're playing, if they scooped early. Wonderful card, good in this meta. Exceed Encore, whenever, I only saw it once, but it was good, and I needed it when I saw it. And, can I say, outs Dweller and outs the Caesar. 3 Lancia, as long as Malice lives, you gotta play this. I mean, Lancia's Lancia.
It's mandatory.
Mandatory for Malice. We've got Sanctum, great thrust target, also stopping Malice. One of the MVPs today. I wouldn't have beaten either of my Malice players if I didn't have that. And then we have Dimensional Barrier. Never saw it, never needed it. Should be good, but it just never came up. And Masquerade. Masquerade. When you're fighting against Malice, you have to pay a lot of life points. I summoned it on them. You just side out the Albalenitus. They can't pay after a certain point. I just make this when they have 900 life points left, and it's just over for them. They can't play the game anymore. Time's getting low. They got to make decisions. It's difficult. It's a good card.
I saw you win a game with Masquerade, funny enough.
Yeah, go into Masquerade, and the Malice, just the life points add up. Can I say?
I can tell he was sweating.
Yeah, sometimes you gotta do the math too and make sure that you're not gonna put yourself in a spot. But yeah, overall, I don't think I'd really change anything. Maybe cut a Guardian Chimera, but yeah, I was happy with the list. I think everything performed well, and at the moment, I don't think I would change anything. I don't think Sanctifier is really needed right now. IDO is good, but if you can get to IDO, you could have probably got to Light and Darkness Dragon Lord. It's another brick in the deck, and I don't really think it's necessary. It's also a little bit more vulnerable to some bestial lines, so I don't really like playing it. But yeah, that's the profile, 60 card branded. Hope you all like it.
All right, thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.